treacherous travel conditions. The National Guard has been deployed in several states to assist with rescue efforts and provide support to those in need. The state of Kentucky has been particularly hard hit by the storm, experiencing unprecedented levels of rainfall and flooding. Record rainfall has led to catastrophic flooding, with rivers and streams overflowing their banks and inundating homes and businesses. The relentless downpour has caused severe damage to infrastructure, leaving many areas completely submerged. The Kentucky River reached historic levels, surpassing previous records by several feet. This unprecedented rise in water levels has overwhelmed local flood defenses, leading to widespread devastation. In some areas, floodwaters rose so quickly that residents were trapped in their homes, forced to seek refuge on rooftops or upper floors. Many families have been left stranded, waiting for rescue teams to arrive. At least 9 deaths have been attributed to the storm in Kentucky, a number that is feared to rise as rescue workers continue to search for missing persons. The community is grappling with the loss and uncertainty brought by this disaster. The Kentucky National Guard has been deployed to assist with rescue efforts, using boats and helicopters to reach stranded residents and transport them to safety. Their swift response has been crucial in saving lives. Door-to-door checks are being conducted in flooded areas to ensure the safety of all residents. Emergency workers are tirelessly working to account for everyone and provide necessary aid. The state has declared a state of emergency, and President Trump has approved a federal disaster declaration, making federal aid available to support recovery efforts. This assistance will be vital in helping the affected communities rebuild and recover from this unprecedented disaster. While Kentucky has borne the brunt of the storm's fury, its impact has been felt far beyond the bluegrass state. In neighboring Virginia, flash flood emergencies were declared in multiple counties. Swift water rescue teams were deployed to rescue residents trapped by rising waters. Indiana, too, has been grappling with the storm's aftermath. Homes and roads were submerged in floodwaters, leaving residents stranded and communities cut off. The weight of the snow further compounded the problems caused by the flooding, making travel nearly impossible in some areas. Heavy snow was forecast for New England and the Great Lakes region, with accumulations expected to reach up to a foot or more in some areas. Coastal communities prepared for the possibility of coastal flooding and high winds as the storm moved up the eastern seaboard. Section 4. Darkness descends, power outages plague the east. As the storm raged on, plunging temperatures and heavy snow brought down power lines across the eastern United States. The relentless blizzard conditions made it nearly impossible for repair crews to get to the affected areas quickly. Over 500,000 homes and businesses were left in the dark, according to poweroutage.us. The sudden loss of power left many scrambling to find alternative sources of light and heat. The outages were particularly widespread in Kentucky, where the combination of flooding and downed power lines created a dangerous situation for many residents. Emergency services were stretched thin as they tried to respond to multiple crises at once. Homes without heat quickly became dangerously cold, forcing families to huddle together for warmth or seek shelter elsewhere. Many community centers and schools opened their doors to serve as temporary shelters. Hospitals and other critical facilities relied on backup generators to maintain essential services. However, the strain on these generators was immense, and there were concerns about fuel shortages. Power companies worked tirelessly to restore electricity, but the widespread nature of the outages and the challenging conditions made for a slow and arduous process. Crews faced treacherous roads and freezing temperatures as they worked around the clock. In some areas, residents were warned that it could be days before power was fully restored. The uncertainty added to the stress and anxiety of those affected, as they braced for a prolonged period without electricity. Section 5. The Silent Killer. A deep freeze grips the nation. As if the flooding and snow were not enough, the storm also ushered in a wave of dangerously cold air that sent temperatures plummeting across the country. This Arctic blast brought life to a standstill, with many areas experiencing power outages and transportation disruptions. From the northern plains to the Gulf Coast, the mercury dipped to record or near-record lows, breaking decades-old records in some areas. The relentless cold stretched across multiple states, affecting millions of people. Wind chills, a measure of how cold it feels on exposed skin, plunged to dangerously low levels. The biting wind made it feel even colder than the already frigid temperatures, posing a serious risk to anyone caught outside. In the northern plains, wind chills dipped as low as -60 degrees Fahrenheit, capable of causing frostbite on exposed skin in a matter of minutes. Such extreme conditions made it hazardous to venture outdoors without proper protection. Even in typically milder regions, the cold was a serious concern. The sudden drop in temperature caught many off guard, leading to increased demand for heating and emergency services. In Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tennessee, wind chills dipped below freezing, a rare occurrence for these states. Residents, unaccustomed to such severe weather, struggled to cope with the icy conditions. The extreme cold added another layer of complexity to the already challenging task of responding to the storm. Emergency responders worked tirelessly to assist those in need, battling both the elements and the clock to provide aid and restore normalcy. Section 6. A glimmer of hope, a looming threat. As the immediate crisis began to subside in some areas, a glimmer of hope emerged. Floodwaters began to recede, revealing the extent of the damage left behind. Rescue workers continued to search for missing persons, while communities began the long and arduous task of cleaning up and rebuilding. However, even as the recovery process began, a new threat loomed on the horizon. Meteorologists were tracking another winter storm developing over the Rockies, forecast to bring another round of heavy snow and ice to the already battered region. The impending storm served as a stark reminder that the dangers posed by this historic winter weather event were far from over. Section 7. Lives lost, lives forever changed. As the storm's fury subsided, the true cost of its devastation began to come into focus. The death toll continued to rise as rescue workers recovered more bodies from flooded homes and vehicles. Each life lost represented a tragedy, a story cut short, and a void left in the hearts of loved ones. Beyond the tragic loss of life, the storm left countless lives forever changed. Families displaced from their flooded homes faced an uncertain future, their lives upended by the disaster. Communities grappled with the immense task of rebuilding damaged infrastructure, businesses, and homes. The emotional toll on survivors, first responders, and communities as a whole was immeasurable.